whole bunch of things. They believe they have the ability to violate your rights at will. They believe they have a whole lot of agency to do a lot of things that they actually don't. They believe that they can just slap cuffs on you and take you and put you in a cage or put you in a mental facility when they want to. They cannot. They have to have legal reason under the law to do so. They have to. If they don't, now here's the shitty part. Even if they don't, they're still going to get away with it by and large because you don't. A lot of people don't have the resources to mount a defense against that. Their life will be forever altered. They'll lose money. They'll be out money. They'll be out family time. They'll be out whatever it is that was your injury. That a lot of the time will go unheeded, and that will go create an individual. Not me. I'm not going to go do something crazy. But there have been individuals who have been harmed by the system to the point where they believe they have no other recourse but to attack the system. And the government gets real high on their jolly when people do that because they're like, oh, well, people are shitty, and this is why we have law enforcement. This is why we do what we do, and this justifies our reason to violate your rights more. Nope. Nope. Because not everybody who's been wronged by law enforcement, even as bad as I've been wronged by law enforcement, having my kids taken away, having my firearm taken away, having been put in a mental facility, having been doing all these things that were wrong and unconstitutional as fuck, it doesn't mean I'm going to go on a killing spree. It doesn't mean I'm going to go line up officers and shoot them gulag style. It doesn't mean I'm labeling every cop under the sun as bad. It doesn't mean a whole bunch of things. But what it does mean is it means my eye and my attention and my focus is wholly different than it used to be. My ability to look at a situation and ask more questions is far, far increased. Because I can't look at a situation anymore and say, you know what, that guy deserved that based on him resisting. I can't look at it on a surface level anymore. I have to look at it at the entirety of what occurs, what takes place on and off camera, and what led to that incident. Again, it doesn't matter what the individual did. A lot of the times the individual could have just committed mass murder. If there's a safe way to detain and arrest that person, that method should be taken. Now, if a court obviously finds him convicted, that person should be taken out into the yard and shot. But, you know, that we're a compassionate society, apparently. But we are such a fucked up society. We are fucked up people. We are savages. We are creative. We are loving. We are tender, but we are also savages. We have people that walk this planet that would literally eat another motherfucker if they could. I believe that wholeheartedly. I believe there are people that are, and they are apex type predators. They are people that are wired a little bit differently. They seek power. They abuse their authority. They do a whole bunch of things. They ruin people's lives and they get off on it. You could talk to any law enforcement officer, and while they're in uniform, they're going to say that they are not that person. They'll say in uniform, oh well, I care about the community. I do what I do for the community, and I mean they start sounding like Mike Tyson, looking all fucking juiced up, like I just I love my community, and this is why don't touch that. Like they. But then when you see them in action, you see them doing an arrest, and you see the whole story unfold, and you see them planting evidence, you see them fictionalizing the events that took place, and you see them hiding evidence and destroying evidence and forcing witnesses out of an area, not taking witness statements. When you see that, it's because they are purposely sabotaging that investigation. That in and of itself should be a jailable offense for law enforcement because it is perjury. You are lying. You are denying evidence to exonerate an individual of a crime that you are accusing them of. But, I digress. So we need a leadership overhaul. I can't wait to debate Brandon Tatum on the issue of policing in America, police brutality. I am throwing down the gauntlet. I would love that debate. He is not ready for that debate. He's going to come at me with very tired arguments of, hey, well, these guys are under a lot of stress. Well, not according to the data. Oh, these guys are putting themselves in harm's way every day. Not according to the data on 10 most dangerous jobs. They don't even make the cut. So when the data doesn't support the narrative that he's going to try and use against me, it's his whole argument's going to fall apart. His whole position is that the only ones who are above reproach that can do a possible investigation, that can arrest other officers, and that can do all these things are other officers. No, the people need to be able to hold these people accountable. And if that means having an entire separate entity of outside investigators that literally is their sole purpose to investigate both sides of a crime, which would, one, it would create jobs. Two, it would allow a party that does not get affected by law enforcement or intimidated by the people or a mob organization or whatever to conduct an investigation and determine whether the law was broken by the police officers or by that person. That's what should be being done, and it's not. What's being done is you have government agents paid by the same agency who work with the judge and the prosecutor as a trio to find any reason under the sun to give you a conviction to bring you into their system of gaining money. It's all a system. It's all, and we see this again with the show Orange is the New Black. We see it with Shawshank Redemption. We see it with so many things because your punishment does not stop at the gates. When you leave, your punishment is ongoing, and it could seem like forever. That's why the rate of recidivism is so high. And you have incentivization of bringing in more bad guys, more tickets, more revenue. There are incentives. It was a quota system, then it turned into a different type of quota system. Now it's another quota system called comp time, where they're giving officers, like let's say you're the highest yielder of tickets, they're actually giving them 10 hours or more of extra time on top of the 40 to 60 hours they already work. So they're getting more and more money. They're getting richer off of criminalizing everyday people and bringing in revenue for that. So again, and when you have a disparity where you don't have enough officers, whether they're the lowly patrolmen or detectives or whatever have you, or IA even, when you don't have them in droves calling out and accusing and looking for arrest of officers who are doing dirt, when you don't have that enough, when you don't have that to the point where a patrolman should be fucking afraid to fuck up, which would make them more knowledgeable. They should be required to at least have a bachelor's degree to even be a police officer. You need a level of critical thinking. You need a level of education before you try and fuck someone up for the rest of their life. That's any government position. You could look outside of law enforcement. You can go all the way to, what are they called? Their county, what are they called? The people that, they're like a large ass HOA. Anyways, your grass is too tall, your house in the community isn't up to their standard, and they fine you for it. And they bring you into a courtroom that's not a courtroom. That's not that doesn't it's not it shouldn't even be. It's amazing how unconstitutional this is. But you're brought before a special magistrate who's not even a judge. You're brought in under force of arrest to pay a fine, or to show evidence that you've dealt with the offending thing that was part of your home, or that was on your property, or if you barbecued and you have smoke blowing into someone's yard, and you're fined a ticket for having your smoke from your barbecue blowing into somebody's yard, which happened in Florida, so if you think I'm fucking kidding. But when you have people whose whole business is to drive around and find something wrong with your home, and then you start getting these tickets, you start getting their method of generating revenue, and you're brought in front of an unconstitutional judge without a jury of your peers who would nullify or could nullify that charge, or that it's you get to the point where it's just bad leadership. You get motherfuckers who are like, okay, we need to find some way to generate revenue. We need to find some way to make more money. We need to find some way to justify our existence this year to get voted in again. And then they come up with shit like this to tax and steal from hardworking people. And then you wonder why consumers, there's always a study like, oh, there's a drop in consumer, the consumer report dictates that there's not as many car sales, there's not as many of this. It's because people don't have money to buy that shit. People don't. People will buy a phone like I have now because it's a supercomputer that's super advantageous to do business. It's a business purchase is what it is. My phone takes 4K video. My phone takes super high quality photos. It's got Microsoft Office I can put on it. It's like a little mini computer that's at my fingertips. It's got access to the internet. It's got upload speed. It's got space and storage, and it's got so many things. It is a tool for business. And then you criticize people who are like, well, why would you make an $800 phone purchase? Maybe people will buy it for the simple use of entertainment like YouTube and Netflix and things like that. But it's much, 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 much more to the everyday person than it is just an entertainment thing or just a mechanism to call people. It is an entire workstation. It is a way by which we earn a living sometimes. It's a way by which we have meetings when we're a business, a high level in business. It's a way we can do interviews with people. It's a great fucking tool, and it is used for business. It's used for profit. It's used for people to generate an income in many different facets. So when people always scoff at, oh, wow, you're gonna have a $800 phone, but your house looks like shit. Well, yeah, because that's an investment to build revenue. Oh, well, you got this, really nice car, but you got a horrible this, and you got, you'd rather buy a phone than put clothes on your back. Well, sometimes buying the phone means I can put clothes on my back at a little bit later point in time, but I'll need that to generate business and a side hustle. Because I guarantee you in this country, so many people have side hustles now that without a side hustle, people wouldn't be able to get by. So, circling all this back up, the solution is more accountability for government leaders, government entities, and people who do shitty things at a super high level. We need more accountability there. We need to loosen the noose around your taxpayers. And there's no way in hell Epstein committed suicide without influence. No way in hell Brennan Tatum will ever want to debate me when it comes to the state of law enforcement, the state of policing, and police brutality. Won't do it. If he does debate me, he's a moron, because I will beat his ass verbally. He won't understand what's coming at him because I'll hit him with facts. I'll hit him with the truth. I'll hit him with, hey, dumbass, there's no way you can argue with the mass majority of people who believe law enforcement officers day in and day out are overstepping their bounds. They're beating the fuck out of people unnecessarily and then not being held accountable. That's what it comes down to. Accountability. There's no way he can refute that. Can't. On the flip side, I acknowledge fully that a lot of his other arguments make perfect sense to me. The argument that Trump is your president regardless of what the hell you say, done. He wins. It's true. 45. I'll even buy one of his motherfucking hats. But again, there are certain issues he won't be able to really hang with me on. But when it comes to certain topics, he's gonna win hands down because there's no I wouldn't argue with him. So, um, but when it comes to Epstein and it comes to people protesting this, that, and the other, he's he definitely has some valid points. I would encourage you, if you don't know who Brandon Tatum is, he's a former Arizona law enforcement officer. He is a YouTuber. Um, he's a businessman. He sells merchandise too. Very good speaker, very eloquent man, very big supporter of the NRA, which I am too. Second Amendment advocate, which I am too. Um, but like I said, we'll disagree on things and we'll have a solid debate on some issues. I'd love it. I'd love to do it. I'm very competitive in that way when it comes to debating an issue I'm very passionate about, which is police brutality and accountability that direction instead of shitting on the average everyday Joe. Um, so David's Life and Observation today is coming to an end. It's been about an hour show. I hope you've enjoyed the show. If you need to get a hold of me, please shoot me an email, dwelch9627@gmail.com. I'd love to hear from you. Hit me up on Instagram, david.m.welch, WELCH1, and you can find me on Instagram or at Twitter at dwelch9627. Many mechanisms to get a hold of me, to reach out to me if you like the podcast. If you like the video, let me know. I'd be happy to hear from you in the comments. In the comment section below, I'm going to link some of the Epstein articles that I found that are very interesting. And if you guys want to tag Brandon Tatum in this video, if you want to link the video or even my podcast to him, I'd be happy for you to do that. Again, I'd be happy to take a look at facts, figures, and studies that you may have regarding some of the topics and issues we've covered here on David's Life and Observation. I'm definitely open to that. But let me know what you guys think in the comments. Let me know what you guys think about leadership in this country, the way what we need as solutions for the problems that we're having. Please give me a solution that's viable for mass shootings other than taking away people's Second Amendment right. And I do see a lot of people's points where like, well, why do people need to own AR-15s? Why do people need to bring an AR-15 into a restaurant? They don't. They don't. People don't really need to own them. But again, the Second Amendment wasn't really meant for just hunting. It wasn't there just so people can have guns to, go hunt and fish. It's literally meant to, if we need to, win back our government from domestic terrorists. That's what it's for. That's what it was always meant for. Not you need it to just go hunting. No, that's never been the case. Responsible gun owners don't do, 99% of responsible gun owners do not do the shit that these lone wolf gunners do. These lone wolf, the ideology, religious theology driven motherfuckers do. They don't. But again, tune into David's Life and Observation next week. I keep wanting to talk about the economy, but I just never get around to it. But let's talk about the issue that keeps buzzing in my mind is accountability and solutions for this. Again, I'd love to talk about the economy next week and talk about what I've been doing for the last 5 months and how being in service to others can be huge. And again, I do want to talk later on in the week about the military, not the invasion of Area 51, which talked about last week, but those who serve our country and those who deserve our admiration and respect. And that's military and that's other first responders like EMS, firefighters. They deserve our respect. I will lump some law enforcement in that category, but not all. Okay? I can't. I just consciously can't. Again, dwelch9627@gmail.com. Hit the like and subscribe. Can't wait to hear from you.